Carly, and I'm here with multiple-time Canadian national medalist Piper Gilles. So welcome to In the Loop.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited to talk to you. I was watching an interview with Golden Skate where you talked about your programs for this season. And you mentioned that your programs, and I think last year's free dance as well, were programs for the people.
Yeah.
So what does that really mean to you in your words, and like, what do you hope people get from those programs?
You know, with Vincent, we felt at the beginning of the year that it was a program that I think a lot of people could relate to, with their own struggles and, you know, not getting the acceptance that they want or results. I mean, everyone could have like looked at it in different ways, and I think that was one of the reasons why people loved it so much. And so when we thought about this theme for the next 4 years, we thought, like, you know, the reason why Paul and I skate isn't always just for ourselves. It's also for like our fans, our friends, and, you know, who have been a part of our journey for our entire career. So I feel like the last quad, we really wanted it to be for the people who have been there for us. And I think a lot of people will be able to just connect with, you know, what we're doing the next couple of years, just as an appreciation. And I think, like, we've done the quirky, we've done the weird, but I think these next couple of years, we're really just being us and being true to who we are. And I think the more relatable you are when you skate and how you are with your friends and fans, you become more accepting. And I think just being real for, you know, the people is kind of what we're doing the next little bit here.
No, that makes complete sense. So it's just like, just give back.
Yeah, it's a thank you, you know, but it's also ways for people to connect with us because it's relatable, you know. And same with the program this year, both sides now, you know, it's about like a relationship with hope, and every relationship has hope that, you know, this could be, you know, your forever love, and then something happens in a relationship, and, you know, you kind of have to accept that they're not your person. And at the end, it's just life. It's an acceptance of, you know, there's hope that there's going to be someone else or something in the future to look forward to. But once you can't get there until you've accepted the fact that, you know, the relationship is done. And I think a lot of people have gone through those times in their life, or, you know, maybe not when we're kids, but when we get older, you know, relationships have come and gone, and some may have been wonderful, and some may have been kind of okay or been hurt in some way. And, you know, you still have hope that there's something to come, right? And I think that anyone can relate to a story like that. And it's easy to draw from your own experiences and really emote that out on the ice. And I think that's one of the reasons why we feel that our programs the next bit will be hopefully great in those ways, because we've been so raw and being able to connect with people on so many levels.
It's like a lot of people can relate to that theme of, I don't really know life at all.
Yeah, and everyone goes through those moments of like, oh God, I can't do life right now. You know what I mean? Like, you drop a glass on the floor. I'm like, what am I doing? You know, like, some days you just have days that you just get kicked around, and you have to accept that, okay, this is a bad day, and hopefully tomorrow's going to be better. I think that's really cool about life, is that sometimes there's another day to look forward to, right? Or the afterlife, or whatever anyone believes in. You've got to have hope in something to get through the day. And I think this program is kind of like, it will reflect something like that.
Yeah, both sides now. I cried watching that at Autumn Classic. I'm like, I had heard the song once in my life.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Love Actually?
No, I haven't, but I know it's a very loved movie. Is it in that movie?
Yeah. So Paul, Carol, and I, and yours, we are huge fans of that movie. And Emma Thompson, in that, there's a moment where I think she finds a necklace that she's hoping her husband's going to give to her, but it ends up being for someone else. And he gives her a Christmas gift, and she's like, oh my gosh, it's going to be the necklace. And he gives her a Joni Mitchell CD. So she goes into the bedroom and puts this song on and just starts crying. Like, it's so touching. Like, you feel for her in that moment. And then all of a sudden her kids are like, okay, let's go, Mom. And, like, she just wipes her face up and just keeps going. You know what I mean? Like, nothing ever happened. And, like, everyone has had those moments of, like, I'm fine. Just, you know, but I think it's relatable. And, God, we've been wanting to do for ages. But, again, with all the rules, like, you've got to have to change tempo. You've got to change, I think, expression. It's been a complicated put together that it fits in the rules. But I think what we've done and with our team, like the skating music guy, like, he's done a phenomenal job, and we've had things orchestrated for the program. And I think, again, because he's invested in us and understands the concept that these programs can touch so many people, we've created this incredible team of people on board, and both of us are extremely thankful and are excited to see what else we come up with.
No, definitely, like, after hearing about the theme, like, programs for the people, that's just such a, like, exciting theme. And that you said you're skating, like, expressing yourselves, that's really exciting to hear. So we're definitely looking forward to, like, just the future programs. And, like, speaking of, like, all the types of programs you've done, like, so your rhythm dance is selections from Mac and Mabel, and it's kind of completely different from the free dance. It's upbeat. It's, like, it would be described as quirky. You guys just, like, really have a talent for expressing multiple different types of programs. Like, you've done, you know, the upbeat and quirky, you've done emotional and moving, and you've done disco. Like, so is that something you guys, like, work on throughout your careers, or do you find that it comes more naturally, that ability to perform?
I think the two of us, like, the reason why we skate is because we love it. And again, we also like to push ourselves in directions that we haven't gone before. So, like, doing the disco program and doing, you know, we did one year as a Paso, and we were bull, like, I was a bull, and, you know, we've done the Beatles. I think we're not afraid to take chances and risk the unknown, because that's really what gets us in every single day to train, is to be able to perfect something that we've never done before. I mean, I remember, like, the last couple of years, we've kind of made it this long-running joke, and now it's kind of like not a saying for us. Every competition, it felt like we were about to jump off a cliff, because it's like, we don't know if people are going to accept what we've just created. So our joke for the long time was, like, we are the cliff jumpers, because it's that type of feeling. And even to this day, like, you know, performing Mac and Maple for the first time, it was like, oh, you know, we've trained it so many times, but again, it's like, are people going to accept a program like this? You know, it's very Broadway. That's exactly what they asked for. But again, who knows? I mean, everyone could like something, and everyone has opinions, right? But at the end of the day, if we're coming in every single day and training and pushing ourselves, I think that's one of the reasons why we're able to connect and be characters, is because I think we trust in our training and curiosity.
So it's like, you just really like the fun of, like, challenging yourself to do new things.
Yeah. I think for the two of us, I think we would get bored doing the same thing. I think, both of us are just curious people in different ways. Paul's very studious and very, very smart, and I'm more curious in an artsy way, and, you know, but we both connect in that way of wanting to learn or push our bodies to some random direction, and same with, like, lifts and creating new elements. I think we're just not afraid to try something that hasn't been done before. And I mean, obviously Mac and Maple is a famous piece for Torval and Dean, but it hasn't been done in like 35 years. So, you know, we also didn't want to go into the season and people comparing the two, because they're completely different, but it's kind of a tribute piece to them, because, you know, we've idolized them for so many years, but this is like our own spin-off of it.
Well, I can definitely tell you that, like, we really appreciate, like, I don't think there's been a program of yours that I haven't liked. Like,
thank you. That's
like,
that's our whole team. I mean, Carol, Yura, John, Paul, and I mean, you know, everyone spends hours just listening to music, like, before the season even ends. Like, Carol has the next 2 years already planned in her head, and she's always changing and ideas, and she's really the driving force of creativity Her concepts they're incredible, how she comes up with some of this stuff. And even for us, I mean, usually it comes with her idea, and then, the rest of us end up doing research and finding music, and she comes up with music as well. It's just, we have this incredible team that's, again, on board with us, never doing the same thing, and we're just really lucky that we have everything in-house and not having to travel from choreographer to choreographer each year. We've got some pretty amazing ones just at home.
So, you talked about how, it's really a team effort between all of your team to come up with these programs that you've performed, and you've talked about how Carol has, the next few years always planned out. So does it usually start, what's the process of making a program? Does it start with her idea and then you all refine it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the idea evolves. So we've had programs that one year, I think it was our first international season together, and we did a gypsy program, and originally we were going to be gypsies, and then we were going to be ghosts, and then it turned into just wild spirits is what we ended up calling it. But I think the process of it is just when you start developing a program, it can change how you feel about it and the way it looks. You start with an idea, and then you kind of take a step back throughout the season and look at it and go, you know what, this isn't exactly what I originally thought. I'm going to morph it into some other way. So then you start working with your coaches and, develop characters. And, I think every process is different. I mean, with Vincent, we couldn't start that program until the music was done. So it was in the hands of the artist Gavardo. We put a lot of trust in it. We really believed in their musicality and their voices, and they really took on this challenge, and we kind of had to go with their feeling and how their voices changed. And I think really you've got to start with the layout too of the program, as well as where, musically you want to put certain elements, and then you kind of start putting things in between. But each year I find that the choreography process is never the same. Even this year we had another choreographer, Jeff Demetrio, come in, and Paul and I started the Mac and Maple choreography off the ice for a week, and then we took it on the ice, and that took us about two and a half weeks until that one was done. So every year I think it's just kind of gets switched up, but that's sometimes the fun part, is that when you're creating something, there's just so much unknown, and every day you somewhat accomplish a little bit more and a little bit more until it's finished. So.
Honestly, that's what's interesting about building programs, is it's different for each program.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's you come up with a list, and that list, you want that to be a highlight. So you listen to the music and you find a highlight piece and you're like, this is where we're going to get the most bang for the buck. That's where it's going to go. And then you develop the program around that. So it's just, it depends on what you've got, and if you've had time to work on elements even beforehand, or if you have a really strong idea of the characters, and sometimes the beginning of the program takes a little bit more to develop that story before you even start doing elements. It all changes.
Speaking of coming up with lifts, something that I always noticed in Vincent was the lift where he balances you on his head, where Paul does.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come up with that? Because that was just so creative to me.
Well, so Carol's kind of the mastermind, and Eurus is the doer. So they're very much kind of like how Paul and I work. Paul's the thinker and I'm the doer. So Carol's I have this idea of Piper kind of floating across his back, but I don't think it's possible. And so Eurus kind of grabs me and he's like, well, let's just try this. Just jump. Jump and see if you can land on my back, and then float. So it was one of those that it was really Carol's idea. She had an idea of what could be at the end to give that final moment the expression and feeling that we wanted. And God, that entrance took Paul and I a while to get, because it was all about timing. But when you know what you want, you really put the time and effort into working on something like that, because it's doable. And sometimes if it's you have this idea and it works on the floor and you bring it onto the ice, it's completely different and you've got to scratch it. But Sometimes you really just get lucky with how some lifts work out, but I guess you just have to be committed to the process of learning something like that.
And it's really nice when it just comes together to make an amazing program, and that's what Vincent was.
Thank you. One of those, we felt like it was, our biggest scare was being able to top that. But again, like we said, we can't top Vincent. We wanted to do something completely different, and Vincent will always be on its own pedestal in some way. But now we're on to the next one, and we want to do the same with both sides now. So, you know, we have an appreciation of what that program did for us, and it really created a stepping stone for this year. So hopefully we'll be able to, you know, bring people that same feeling that Vincent did, but in a different way.
So kind of moving, like talking about how you want to perform both sides now this year, you've already gotten a chance to perform your programs in front of an audience with Autumn Classic. So is there anything you've like noticed about either of your programs that you want to change or improve on?
Well, Autumn Classic, again, like the reason why we do the senior Bs is just to get the international feedback. You know, yes, it's good to get the world ranking points, but for us, like, it's just to kind of get those little kinks out, because you spend a whole summer training a program just not knowing whether or not it's giving you that impact. So we really went home after Autumn Classic, and it changed quite a bit. Like the layout of the program is exactly the same. It's just the elements in between and the transition. We wanted to make sure that things were, like, the change of expression was there and the elements, because we missed a few points just on technical elements. So we kind of just needed to refine those things a little bit. But right now, I think our whole team is very excited for Skate Canada, because we feel very trained and ready to go, and I can't believe we leave a week from today.
Yeah, it's so crazy that the Grand Prix is starting. So kind of speaking of the season, the Grand Prix, as we discussed, is starting soon, and the season's really starting to pick up. So do you have any short-term or long-term goals for the season in quad?
Short-term, Paul and I really have our eye on making the Grand Prix final. It's been kind of a monkey on our back for the last couple of years. So our main focus the next, two competitions is really just doing our job and being confident in what we've done during practice. I think because we've been wanting to go to the final and prove that, we're Canada's number one team, I think we made some pretty big and small mistakes that affected our goals, and I think we really just need to be confident in what we've done and take ownership of how we want to compete and what we want to show with people. So the Grand Prix final is definitely a good goal. A little bit longer would be national championships and hopefully medal. We've been really wanting to get closer and closer to the world podium this year. And again, the long-term one, Olympics. Again, we're looking for the podium. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. But I think with the programs that we've been creating, we can do it as long as we mentally stay strong and physically stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. Has injury ever been something that's like how do you handle, because obviously injury I think happens to every skater. Maybe it's a bigger injury or smaller, but how do you compete with, what is your mentality? How do you keep strong in the face of injury?
Depends. Sometimes injuries just, there's nothing you can do, right? Paul had one and, broke his ankle, and it affected, our results going into, the Sochi Olympics. And at that point, you just race against the clock, but you do your best to get there. Other times you have injuries that, aren't so severe, but they stay a lot longer because you're not nurturing them and giving them the time that they need during a competitive season. And that's extremely frustrating because mentally you want to push and you've got a lot of work to do to get the results that you want, but you're being held back by your body, which is tough. But you learn to manage. I mean, the most important thing is having a really good physical therapy team that are going to be able to take care of you and know your needs and know how much they can push. And I think, that's a learning process too. It's like the longer you've been with your coaches, the more they know and how much you can push. And again, it's the type of injury. So it's never, they're never the same. And the most important thing is just you got to listen to your body and give it what it needs at the time.
Kind of a different topic, but we really wanted to know, you guys have a lot of beautiful costumes.
Thank you.
Just Vince, it was just amazing. That dress is just so beautiful. But what's your process behind like creating and making your costumes? Like how do they come about?
Some start with like the concept of like of the program. Like others, it's like, who do you want to be as a person? You think of the times. Like we had one that was a movie program, and it was, we thought about a black and white film, and what would this, a lot of it's like the atomic blonde, the beautiful blonde in the stunning silk dress. You think about the times and you think about history, and even color has a big impact. I mean, sometimes I don't like to do the same color like 2 years in a row kind of thing, because you just want to mix it up. But with Vincent, like that one was so easy to create because of the painting is so beautiful by itself, and finding it was really easy to replicate actually, because naturally the way of the painting is it swirls and it moves, and I think the hardest part was trying to figure out how to create that on a dress, and it was actually kind of 3D. It was on top of horsehair that my seamstress put together, and then we ended up stoning on top of it to create that look. But again, like I always go back to the Paso one, is like, with the Paso Doble, you've got the bull, and the bullfighter, you've got the cape. So we wanted to kind of find a way to incorporate that without making it too gimmicky.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it's just keeping your eye open for things around, like in magazines, Pinterest, things that kind of spark your interest, because you never know where those are going to lead you, because your brain can get really creative once you start looking at one thing. You're like, we can add this, or this could be this color, or I think you just really have to have an open mind throughout the entire process. And then once that happens, they kind of just let your brain do the job, or do the work. Do the job. Do the work, and trust that created something that'll be memorable for that program.
Yeah, so do you usually have an input on how your dresses and how your costumes turn out? Like, do you like to have an input?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, since I was a kid, my mom always designed all my costumes, and she sewn them, and I was heavily involved in that process. And then, the last couple of years, all of the dresses that we've worn, I've designed and I've stoned. And this year is the first year that I actually didn't do anything.
Oh, wow.
It felt so strange for me. I really let one of my costume makers here in Toronto kind of take full force. I mean, he wanted to really package us, and the person that actually did who designed Mac and Maple, I've never used before. I used the design, but I had someone else make the dress. So this year was kind of a strange year for me, because I'm usually like stoning the dress like a week before our first competition, so it's kind of strange, but kind of nice to have a year off. But I really do like to have an input on my costumes, and I think that's something eventually that I'd like to do for other skaters, is kind of package them in a way, so that the programs can understand and really get the effect that they want through visually, because the program itself, watching it is visually stimulating, but if you also have a distracting costume, it doesn't quite go together. It's kind of just feels mismatched. So maybe when I'm done skating, that's something that I'd like to do. I did a little bit of it the last couple of years for some skaters, which has been fun, to see your design and dress on the ice. But for now, I'll stick with putting input in my own dresses.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Like, And I agree that like a costume can really make or break a program.
Yeah. And for me, I think again, it was like I felt invested in every aspect of my skating because, you know, the moment I put my dress on, it was like, yeah, I've created this, you know what I mean? And I had such a strong relationship with my seamstress back in Colorado, and I've been with her for 15 something years. Like, she's known my body since I was a kid, and having that trust in knowing that someone's gonna, you know, find or understand your vision and bring it to life, and then you adding the stones and stuff like that just kind of adds that extra layer that it needs. But it brings a smile to your face, and I think you're proud to step on the ice every time you're wearing them.
Yeah, just like adds a little bit of passion into something you're already passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of moving on to, we have a little bit more fun questions. We have to mention, everyone loves your guys's, like, what you list for your ISU bio hobbies. Like, they're so fun. So I just want to know, how do you come up with them?
You know, it's funny. For Paul and I, it's like every single year we have to do the same paperwork. And we were like, at one point, it was kind of like a rebellion as to like, okay, here we go. Like we're doing this again. No one really reads our hobbies, but like, let's really make them read our hobbies. And like, let's just come up with the most extreme things we could think of. Like, I think I was like extreme ironing, I think was mine, like cotton collecting, tarot card, like it was just so strange. And then like the whole theme of all of it, like one year I was Cinderella, the next year I was a trapeze person from the circus. Like, I don't even know how I even come up with them. And even this year, I was like, this year mine felt very dull because I forgot the season was starting. So I was like, oh, I can't even like think of what I'm going to do. And like yesterday I came up with like a really good themed one. But now I have to wait till next year to do it. So I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, let me tell you, we get a lot of joy from them. So don't worry.
I think it's funny. Like, we started that, and like now there's like a trend of people just kind of making like funny mock ones. So we're kind of like, yeah, we started that. That's cool. Like, I like that.
You're just like, kids these days don't know who started it.
Yeah, we're just like the trendsetters, you know.
Well, we're glad you do it because it brings a lot of joy. Do you have any like pre-competition like routines or rituals, like things you do to get yourself hyped, like songs you listen to pump yourself up, like things like that?
I think like the day of, like, I have to obviously do my hair and makeup and stuff like that, and it's just like part of my routine. But I usually like to have some kind of like upbeat music, anything that's kind of happy, or I'm watching like one of my favorite movies, like a comedy, or like I'm a really big fan of Mel Brooks films, so like Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs, or even like I know Monty Python movies. Like, those things are so light, and it's like I don't have to be focused because I've watched them so many times that I know the lines to all of them anyways. Those are just fun ones, just to kind of not focus on what you're about to do and keep you out of your head a little bit.
Any songs you would recommend?
I think one of the songs that, I don't know, Paul and I just laughed with is Betty Davis Eyes. It's so random, but we were on a road trip one year. I think it was the disco year. And we just got a kick out of the lyrics, and so anytime we'd hear it, it was kind of a good distraction, and still, to this day, I mean, it still brings a smile to both of our faces. So I don't know if we really have like a song, but I know one year Paul and I asked Hugo, who's one of the guys who plays music, like in between skates and stuff. We asked him to play Blitz Street Bop. But he's like, there are some inappropriate parts in it, so like can't really play that over the loudspeaker before you compete. So, but that song is another one that Paul and I both like to hear kind of before we compete. It just brings a good memory and smile to our face.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to more fun questions. If you could steal one skater's abilities for a day, like it doesn't have to be an ice dancer, it could be like, you know, like single skaters or anything, who would you pick, and like what would you want to do?
Genya Morozov, because she is a boss. Like, the fact that he can just chuck her, and she's like a cat. She always finds her feet. It's like, it's amazing. So, like, I would like to just experience what she experiences for a day. I think that would be fascinating and extremely hard.
Just find like a pairs guy and be like, hey, can you throw me?
Seriously, I mean, that's what I really originally wanted to be a pair skater, and I never had a partner at the time, so I ended up ice dancing and then took a love for it, and pair skating was not in my future that day. So
Yeah.
I would just like to experience it and at its best. And I mean, Tarasova or more, yeah. So I always get the two of them mixed up, and I love the two of them. Evgenia is like the ultimate pair girl.
So you kind of mentioned that like you originally started out wanting to do pairs, but if you weren't skating now as a career, what do you think you'd be doing now? Like, what would you like to have been doing?
Oh God, I don't even know. Is that sad?
No, it just means you're good at skating.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it was funny. When I quit skating, you know, I almost took a contract with Disney, and then I also almost went to FITM in LA to get into fashion design, because with skating, like, you're constantly thinking about new concepts and ideas for your costume. So I thought it would be really interesting to learn like some of the best in the business, and FITM is one of the best fashion schools in the world, and that was going to be my other option. So I'd say fashion would be a different career or path if I wasn't skating.
Mm-hmm. And even now you are kind of doing that with designing your own costumes, so.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a stepping stone.
Yeah. You said you almost took a contract with Disney?
Yeah, I did. It was
for
funny.
What?
I was supposed to, for Rapunzel, actually. So when they started that show, they contacted me to do like a tryout. So I did the tryout, and they wanted me. They sent me the contract, and, you know, I was about to sign it. And the day I was supposed to sign it, Paul called me and asked for a tryout. And
really?
I took a big risk saying like no to Disney, because I didn't know what the future would hold.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so grateful that I passed on that opportunity. But eventually Disney got one of us. They took my sister as Elsa, so they got one twin.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been a different future. But I'm very happy with, you know, what I chose, and I went with my gut. And yeah, it's been a great ride so far.
Really interesting. So kind of going back, you said you really admired Tarasova and Morozov as a pairs team. Are there any other like figure skating skaters or teams that you really enjoy, or programs that you really enjoy?
Oh my gosh, that's hard. I mean, there's so many incredible skaters and so many programs over the years. It's hard to pinpoint an exact program. One program that Paul and I both really liked, I can't remember. It was the year of the Sochi Olympics. Adam Rapon did this really interesting long program, and I can't remember the name of it. So it would have been like 2013, 2014 season. And watching the program from above, it wasn't like, it was the pattern of the program. It was so beautiful, and the way he skated it, it's one of those programs that I like just remember. It was just so weavy, and I don't know, just it made you feel something. Caitlin Osman, about like all the whole Canadian team, we were like bawling before she even finished at the Olympics. You know, that was a moment that all of us like will remember for a long time, because, you know, we're these people you've traveled with, and Caitlin and I had our first World Championship together in London, Ontario. So, you know, becoming invested in people's careers, and to see her accomplish everything she put her heart out, or everything. I mean, everything she worked hard for. I mean, she did it all in that moment, and it was just really wonderful to watch and experience.
Kind of speaking of, you said like the World Championships in London, Ontario. The worlds are being held in Montreal this upcoming season, or this current season. Are you looking forward to having Worlds in a home crowd again?
Oh yeah, you know, again, I was really lucky to have my first World Championships in Canada. You know, so, you know, if we can make the podium, it would be an even more special experience. I mean, I just remember there's nothing like Canadian fans. Like, everyone is so welcoming and supportive, and they're emotionally invested in every program that's on the ice. And I think everyone will have some kind of moment at Worlds, because it's just nice to know that you've got these families and friends that have been behind you pretty much your whole career, and to be able to share that with them will be a great experience and moment.
Okay, final question. The question I like to end with. If you could let the figure skating fan community know one thing about you, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. The whole community? Oh, geez. I'll do a funny one, because this will be funny. I recently I got a lot of money in Animal Crossing this last week.
Are you looking forward to the new Animal Crossing game?
Oh yeah. I'm now donating money to the town square to get windmills and creating paths. So I'm very excited about that.
That's amazing. I love Animal Crossing.
I know, it's so fun, and like I just learned how to get like a cheat code to get more money, so I can pay for all this. I'm like, it's so excited. I'm like, shh, don't talk to me. I'm paying my mortgage. It sounds so ridiculous.
How's Scout doing? We love her.
She's wonderful. She's actually sitting on my lap right now. She's passed out.
Aww.
She's great. You know, she's getting so big. I'm so like, I want her to stop growing. I'm like, oh. She's been such a great add to my life. Like, I don't know. It's just it's nice to be like a mom to something, you know?
Yeah.
And they like, she'll love you forever. I mean, if you have a bad day, it doesn't matter to her. As long as you love her and feed her, like, she's so happy. And they have no agenda. They just want to be loved, and they just want to love you. And at the end of the day, that's their job in their life. And I think that's so cool. And they bring everyone so much joy. Like,
yeah.
Very blessed. Very blessed to have this little one in my life now.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, I didn't want to take her to Vancouver because it's like my first international, but it's gonna be so sad, like, when I leave her on Wednesday. I'm like, oh.
You're just like, I'll be back.
I know. I think I like left for a wedding a couple weekends ago, and like just seeing her at the front door, like sitting there watching me go, was like, I'll be back in 3 days.
We're really excited for Skate Canada. I know, like, everyone on the team who's going was so excited that they're going to see you again. So just remember that you've always got supporters in the loop.
Yes.
We're wrapped up with the questions. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. We wish you the best of luck at Skate Canada, even though, like, it's in, like no one knows where Kelowna is in Canada.
Wine country. That's all you need to know.
Oh, really? I'm going to have to tell my friend that.
Yeah, Kelowna's wine country. I wish we could stay a little bit longer, but, you know, duty calls, and it's my job, right? So
yeah, we're really excited to see you there, and thank you so much for sitting down with us.
No problem.